Welcome to the Quimby Chronicles Momcast, where we talk about all things motherhood, family, and keeping your sanity through it all. On today's episode, we're diving into the personal growth that comes with being a mom. Ready to join an honest conversation about balance, self-love, and giving yourself grace? Come on in.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Quimby Chronicles. I'm one of your hosts, Tracy.
And I am Shantae. And you guys, if you've been watching, you already know we keep it real and honest on this side. And obviously, today's episode is going to be no different.
Okay, exactly. And today we're going to talk about personal growth as a mom. And honey, okay, because if you know, you know. That journey is no joke. It's exciting, it's crazy. But before we get too deep, if you're loving our podcast, you're loving our conversations, go ahead and subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another mama who could use this information, because the more the merrier.
Okay, guys, let's get into it. Mom, when do you think that you first realized that motherhood wasn't just about, raising kids, that it was also about, growing as a person?
Immediately. Okay. As soon as I had you. You know what? Honestly, though, it wasn't immediately because I didn't come to terms with the fact that I had this little person and I was responsible for their life for probably about 2 weeks. You were probably like 2 weeks old. It was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I had you in my lap and you were laying looking up at me. And I was looking down at you and your eyes were like this. And then and it hit me just out of nowhere. It hit me like, oh my gosh, I am responsible for this little human. So and then throughout the journey, of course, I had to learn patience. I had to learn resilience, and the most important thing, which after being a parent for what over 23 years now, I clearly still don't have a good handle on. Can't pour from an empty cup. That's the one thing that I still struggle with, because you want to do so much for your kids, and um, not not pouring from an empty cup, and making sure I prioritize myself is definitely something that I struggle with. Okay. What about you? How do you see personal growth as a mom?
For me, I definitely think one of the biggest things is realizing that growth doesn't stop just because became a mom, or just because you had kids, or whatever the situation is. Like, if I still have the opportunities to go and chase whatever dreams I may have, pursue any hobbies or anything like that I may have, but with saying that, you have to learn about balance, time management, what's the word, discipline. There's a lot of different factors that would go in, as opposed to someone that doesn't have kids. I'm still Shantae without being a mom. Like, that's
Right.
not all that I am, and I definitely think I still struggle with that, because if you know me, my whole personality pretty much is being a mom. So as that being stated, I'm definitely still learning how to become, pretty much like back to being my own person, and not just, oh, mom, wife, whatever the case may be. I just gotta lock in. I have to lock in.
Exactly. And I definitely think that that is the key. It's not, I mean, the patience is good, the resilience, you know, the accountability, the discipline, all of that is good. But the important part is finding your way back to who Shantae, finding my way back to who Tracy is, finding your way back to who you are. That's the important thing.
Okay, guys, now let's talk about some real lessons we've learned pertaining to personal growth as moms. If you had to give three major lessons, what would they be?
Three lessons. So the first one would tie into what we were just talking about, and the fact that you can't pour from an empty cup. The thing is, even though people tell you, you never get it until you're like totally exhausted and at your wits' end, ready to pull your hair out. Like Shantae used to say, sliding down the wall, crying, throwing up. Like, that's when you
Yeah.
realize that when you're at, like, when you hit rock bottom, that's when you realize, like, oh dang, I can't pour from an empty cup. So I just really, that's number one. Number two, it is okay to evolve. Hear mom say all the time, oh, well, before my kids, I did this, and before my kids, I love this, and before. It's okay to not be the same person you were before your kids, because you're not the same person you were before your kids. Once you have kids, you do so much growing, so much evolving. So I think, us coming to terms with the fact that that growth is okay, us embracing that growth, that's definitely something that us as moms need to work on. And then the third thing, okay, is give yourself some grace, okay? And I say it like that because I know we don't. We don't. We are so hard on ourselves when it comes to things dealing with those children. And even though those children get on our nerves day in and day out, we're gonna do whatever we can. We'll bend over backwards for them children and then have the nerve to feel guilty. But we'll neglect ourselves for months and months on end and not feel bad about that. So we need to give ourselves some grace in both areas. Grace in, if you find yourself maybe coddling your kid a little too much, give yourself some grace, because we're human. If you find that, oh, you've planned these self-care days and, oh, dang, I missed one, give yourself some grace. You're not used to doing it. So I think those are the three things for me.
100% yes to all three of those. I would definitely add one more, and that would be ask for help. When you need, ask for help.
Amen.
I used to feel like I had to do everything under the sun when it came to my kids myself, and that led to me getting burned out and just unmotivated when it came to anything. I just did not want to do anything. I did not want to be bothered. And there's nothing wrong with, leaning on whatever village you have for some help, whether it's a friend, family member, whatever. It's okay to ask for help. You're still an amazing mom, but like we have been talking about, you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you're burnt out, you cannot continue pouring into others' cups when you're burnt out. It is okay to ask for help. No judgment. There is no judgment in asking for help. None. Okay, guys, and so for the moms listening who are like, okay, I hear what you guys are saying, I get it, but how do I actually work on me while still being a mom? How do I get this thing rolling? How do we get started? What's some advice that you can give?
The first thing that I would say is make time for yourself. As a mom, that's something that we don't do. Our lives revolve around our kids and the things that they have going on. Make some time for yourself, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes. If it's journaling, if it's sitting down, enjoying a cup of coffee or a cup of tea uninterrupted, reading a book, whatever. Just make sure that you take time for yourself and not feel bad about it. What else would you add?
I would say to check in with yourself, like actually sit down and think, what are some things that I want to do for me? What are some things that I need to do for me? Because it's so easy to get caught up in what everybody else needs, what everybody else wants.
Right.
Just, our minds are pretty much wired to worry about everybody else and ourselves last. So you really need to, sit down, take a pause, have a minute, and figure out what you need, what's missing from you, what you need to do to make yourself feel better, or whatever the case may be.
Right. Absolutely. And then also surround yourself with people who are going to support your growth. If you feel like you became friends with somebody 5 years ago and y'all bonded over being new moms with kids who are crybabies, well, but your kid not a crybaby no more. Like, I don't want to keep talking about this kid all the time. So you got to be surrounding yourself with people who are going to support your growth, people who are going to see you as being more than just a mom. So basically like-minded individuals. So I can say that I've been very lucky to be surrounded by people who support my growth. So that's definitely a game changer. People who support you. So find your little community and rock with them.
Okay, so I really love this conversation because I feel like there are so many moms out there that could really, use this information because you know how the postpartum gets you, and you're sitting there thinking like, oh man, I wish it was like this, or I wish it was like that. I wish I could have done this. The
Right.
world doesn't stop. And it's
Right.
okay to change and evolve, but eventually it comes time to where it's important to find yourself again. So you're not, completely lost, drifting out, and just you don't want to wait until it's too late, basically. So just it's okay to change and evolve, change your surroundings, whatever you need to do. It's okay to do what you need to do when it comes to like, your mental health, physical health, anything like that, your kids. It's okay to make changes in life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And if you're stuck in that season where you're feeling like you're stuck or you're lost, just remember you are not alone. I know that the way society is now, that a lot of us think we're so alone. A lot of things that we experience, a lot of the emotions we experience, a lot of the things we go through, society, the way society is makes us feel like we're alone, but you're not. You're not. It's not just you. You're still you, and you're still worthy of growth. Okay. So, hmm.
So, guys, before we go, we want to hear from you. Okay? So, what's one way that motherhood has helped you grow as a person, mom, partner, whatever you're wanting to relate it to? You guys can DM us, you can comment on our latest post, send us voice notes if you want to. Both of us are always a good listening ear. Contact us any way that you feel comfortable and let us know what's going on, because we definitely would like to continue this conversation with you guys.
Absolutely. And don't forget to subscribe, to share it, to leave a comment. And that will be all for us this time. So, thank you for joining us today. And until next time, keep growing and glowing, honey. Okay. So, we'll see y'all on the next episode of the Quimby Chronicles. Toodles.
Thanks for tuning into the Quimby Chronicles Momcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode, and join us next time as we tackle more of the beautiful chaos that is motherhood.